All right, so we are on to our first platinum red and the first platinum wine overall, which is the Clos Saint-Germain Bourgogne Rouge, brought to us by Laurent Chardigny. So you look at this bottle, and you see a bunch of really confusing language on it, which is pretty much in line for any bottle from Burgundy, regions like that, like a lot of Germany, a lot of Austria are notorious for having these really obscure esoteric labels where it's kind of hard to understand anything that's on here. So just to give you a really quick rundown and just kind of a simplification of things, we're looking at Clos Saint-Germain, which is kind of the name, their little parcel that they own. It's not a recognized appellation or anything like that, but it's just what they call the wine. Bourguignon, we're looking at the AOP or the AOC, so this covers the entirety of Burgundy. We see Vieil Vin de Pinot Noir, so this means Pinot Noir from old vines. Much like the US, there isn't really a legal standard for old vines in France that I know of, and these come from about 10 to 20-year-old Pinot Noir vines. We get here, de Fût de Chêne just means it was aged in oak for some amount of time. They don't really give us a specific number. We get into the vintage, and we get to Laurent Chardigny, which is who bottles the wine. Now you might be wondering, bottles, what about makes it? We'll get to that in this next little tidbit. At the very bottom in very fine print, it says mis en bouteille dans nos chais. So that means that it was bottled in their cellar. So what this is meant to mean is that the wine was made somewhere else, right? The grapes were grown somewhere else and the wine itself was fermented somewhere else. And then it is bottled in the cellars owned by Laurent Chardigny. And you might be wondering, it's like, well, that seems kind of cheap, but believe it or not, really a lot, most, if not all, of Burgundian wine you'll see in the US is the result of this system. So Burgundy's vineyards are split into many, many different owners. You can have people owning like 1 block to 2 blocks to 3 blocks of a single vineyard, and it's just split up between endless amounts of people. So most of the time, that one person isn't going to have the means to ship that or to distribute it overseas to various markets. So what do? You employ the services of a negociant, and some of the more popular ones you might have heard of are like Domaine Février of Louis Jadot is a really big one. People like that. And so basically these negociants, they bottle the wine somewhere, they put their label on it, and then they use their services to send it overseas. And this can be from wine, like bottom line wine, all the way up to a couple $10,000 of Grand Cru Burgundy. So it doesn't really mean anything with regards to quality, just a statement of fact per se. So onto the actual wine itself. 100% Pinot Noir, as you might suggest, from a red Burgundy. Now you can already see from the color, it is super light, only 12.5 ABV on this guy. Again, they don't give us an oak time, but Burgundian Pinot Noir tends to be among the more delicate examples in the world, even at the most expensive levels. And this is by design. It's what it's known for. So you get this kind of light, transparent ruby color. It's very brilliant. It has these orange tints, which usually denotes like a younger wine that has a lot of acidity to it. And you can tell that immediately. You get these orange peel notes. You get Bing cherry, a little bit of plum and raspberry notes in there. You get these fun tea leaves and like earth in there. It's like if you took some of the characteristics of a Willamette Pinot Noir and just kind of turned it up to 11 a little bit, just in terms of its influence. So let's go ahead and taste. Yeah, so medium bodied, higher acid, very soft, super fine grained tannins, kind of woody. You get this very light fruitiness coming from these raspberry and black cherry notes. You get a little bit of like savory baking spice and oak in there, but not too much. You get a touch of like an echo of vanilla, right? So this is just a super delicate, light version of Pinot Noir that's totally standard for Burgundy, and really a fun example overall. I would pair this with something very light on the red meat side, think like venison or pork, something gamey that has a lot of umami characteristics to it to kind of complement the fun little nuances of this wine.